Hello, internet. I can see my hair now, so in many ways I should have done that first. Beard's combed though. You can't see it because t-shirt and everything. Anyway, can you hear me? Can you see and hear me? Not you.
Yeah, well, I can't actually because I've just realised that my membership's gone out of date. So I need to put my card number in and I don't know it. Oh dear.
Okay, so...
Oh, I don't know what to do. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh, bigot. No, won't say that. Can't swear. Flipping heck. I'm just putting yours in. No, yours. Thank you.
You've done it, have you?
No, not yet. Thinking about it. Oh.
There's a button on here that says share screen. That looks new. Oh.
Don't do it.
Ooh. But I haven't got my XY epithypomots with me.
You filthy devil.
I don't know if anyone said they can hear yet or see.
Has anyone said anything?
Well, Steve has said they live or they live.
Oh, they're live.
No, they live. They live. I think it's they live. Hello.
We do live.
But I don't know if I can be seen and or heard. Gotcha. Splendid. Righto, they can see and hear. You see, I'm just too paranoid to... Because I know my look. I would sit here for like half an hour and just talk to myself. And people would go, when's he going to start? When's he going to start? When are you starting? And I'd be like, I did it all already. Okay. Admin is still adminning. So I have to fill dead air because dead air is bad. Okay, so usual format. I'm going to talk a little bit about what's gone on hobby-wise and to an extent real-world-wise, but to a lesser extent. But to an extent, since we left it a stream, and Crimson will be capturing any questions you've got. If you want to put them in the chat, and Crimson will capture them. And I will ramble about the subject and probably deviate wildly. And then general chat and questions and stuff. So, what has been going on in the hobby world? Well, the last of the current run of Horus Heresy bat reps went live on Monday. And if you don't want to know the result, look away now. The Emperor wins, but only kind of. That's the Horus Heresy as a whole, I suppose. So they've all been, those three vids have been doing well. Lots of really nice feedback. People seem to have been enjoying them. Quite a few views. So, happy with that. I'm doing my thing at the moment where I'm diarising my next batch of stuff. So there is going to be more Heresy, but we are obs because enjoying it humongous lots. But for the next stretch on the channel, we are going to AOS, back to the third chapter. Not back to the third, back to the Siege of Excelsis campaign, to the third chapter. Have you done it yet?
No.
Okay. To the third chapter, and the first of which will be next Monday. Now, I've done something I prefer not to do. I've started showing them before I finished filming this batch. I prefer not to do that, just in case of tragedy. And so some of those have been filmed. The first one will be on Monday. Then there's a couple of hobby vids in the queue. No, there's only one now. So yesterday, all my troubles seemed so far away. Oh no, that's not right. Yesterday, the first one of me old world Bretonian vids went up, painting men at arms. The next one to come up is going to be Knights on Foot. There was a sneaky peek preview picture of that in the Discord the other day, so that's coming. But the Bretonians, it's going to take a while to get a playable army. Then I've got to learn to play Old World, and then I've got to remember how much I suck at playing Fantasy Battle. So Old World is coming, but 'tis a way off because I need to get the whole army ready. And then at the moment I'm busy manically painting for the third episode of this chapter of the Siege of Excelsis. So on my painting desk at the minute is a Krakenita Mega Gargant, 2 Scourge Privateer Charybdises, and some Paladors and Vanguard Hunters. So I'm feverishly trying to get those done for Easter weekend. Oh, there's been a green thing.
Need a code.
You need a code. You need a code. 1 minute. Some impromptu banking going on. You talk whilst I look.
Okay. Sorry about this. I didn't realise it didn't tell me. I don't know why it didn't do that. But hello, everyone. Hello. I hope everybody's okay. Tell you a little bit about what's been happening to me as well. For anybody that knew, I was waiting for spinal surgery. So I've had some of that now. I've got some more to have. But I've had some of that. And they've pinched some nerves around the top of my spine, around my discs, ready to replace the discs. So I won't say it wasn't painful, because it was, but I'm much. But what are you saying?
Nothing. I was miming.
Oh right, okay. So yeah. Anyway, I am. I'm okay, and thank you for everybody that sent flowers as well. Thanks to the person that sent me some flowers, and obviously all the nice get well soons and all those kind of things. So thank you. It is going the right way. I've just got to have another 3 operations, and then I'll be like Wonder Woman.
It was pretty good for a couple of days, wasn't it? But you've had a bad day again today, so it's a bit
this
of
afternoon. Yeah. So you know what it's like when it starts to feel better. You start to do things, don't you? And then you probably shouldn't do things, and then no. So that's just where I've been. And I don't know whether I mentioned it last time, but my niece was very, 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 very pregnant, and now she's had a little boy called Harry, and he is absolutely gorgeous. So I just wanted to say that as well. I'm sure we've mentioned it, but I think there might be different people here. So. Thanks, Kev. Yeah, me too, Sarcastic Monkey. That's the reason I'm having it, because there is a risk. Obviously, there's a risk to everything. But I have to say, I didn't read it before I had the surgery. He said, read it. These are all the things that could go wrong. And I thought, no, I'm all right, thanks. I didn't read it because I might not have had it done, and I need to have it done. So, oh, God. Oh, bless him, Kevin. Go 6 hours. Oh. Yeah, I think that Sarcastic Monkey. I think exactly that. Don't read it. Don't read it, because is it whatever it's going to say? If the worst is death, which it probably is, but whatever it's going to say, you know, don't you? Really, in your mind. That...
Interesting fact. Before I read the leaflets to most medication before I take them. My antidepressants. You know what one of the listed side effects of my antidepressants is?
Getting pregnant.
Death.
Yeah.
The listed side effect.
There's death just about about everything. So I mean, and I do know you also know that if you're having your spine worked on, that you could become paralyzed. You know that. It's a given. So I didn't read that bit either, because higher up your spine, more of your body's paralyzed. They were doing my neck. Didn't read it. Just signed it.
It's an approach. It's an approach.
It is a side effect of living. You're absolutely right. But yes, so you've got a green. Have you done your green message?
Well, no.
Now I'm in. You asked
me for the thing when I was.
I know.
About
sorry,
to do the green message.
I'm in and I'm on. So less about me, because that's very boring.
You're in and you're on. Is there anything else, sort of hobby or anything related, that you've done since we last?
Hobby related. Like I've got time for that.
Okay, so
I wish I did. No, and also just so that everybody knows as well, is I've been madly trying to sort out Paul Fest. So been sorting out everything for that, because I don't know whether anybody's been to any of our events that we've done, but we're kind of, when we do events, we sort of do events, don't we?
You excel at events.
Yeah, that's my background as well. I've organised a lot of events, so I've been doing that as well. So there's quite a few tickets gone already, which I'm very happy about, which has meant that we can get some very, 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 very special merch that people will only get if they come to Paul Fest, which will be very exciting. And it's free.
Well, it's included in the cost of the ticket.
Of course it is. It's free.
It's included in the cost of the ticket. Important legal distinction.
Listen, when they bought the ticket, they didn't know that they were going to be good merch, because neither I didn't. Anyway, there's going to be some really good stuff. I'm having it made at the moment. So, yeah. That's what I've been doing.
Jolly good.
The rest of the time's been my own.
So... to continue,
not
at all. But I don't want to linger on the "and I might never have walked again" side of things.
I'm not lingering on it. I'm not even reading it.
Good. So it's gone off the screen, and I haven't got a mouse. Hang on. So Sarcastic Monkey, member for 17 months, says, "Loving your style of Heresy armies so much, but I'm excited for Excelsis 2. Any chance of some Cruel Boys action?" I'm glad you're enjoying the Heresy. Also glad you're looking forward to Excelsis. I have to say, the AOS battle reports, I absolutely love doing them, but they get a fraction of the views of everything else. So it's nice to know that those folks who are watching them are enjoying them. Any chance for some Cruel Boys action? In a word, no. Not in the foresee. Well,
no, I just would not take no as a. Never know.
Shush you.
You never know.
So the reason for the answer of no is because the Cruel Boys don't appear in the Siege of Excelsis. They have not been introduced to the setting by that point. In fact, it is after the Siege of Excelsis that Kragnos discovers them and they get introduced. Spoiler alert, but that's in a book that's been out for 3 years, so not that much of a spoiler. So they don't get a look in at that point in time. Now, there may not be, I may well do standalone AOS games, because for the 4th chapter, I've got an awful lot to paint. So there might be a fair gap between chapter 3 and chapter 4, because I've got to do a lot of Hedonites of Slanesh, Cities of Sigmar, and Daughters of Cain. There's a lot to do for that, so that may take a while. So I may do other ones in between. But then again, there's also stuff like I've got to do Old World. Got to do Old World. Well, I'm working up to doing Old World, which would be fun. Obviously, more Heresy. Blue. And come on, brain. And oh yes, and I'm meeting some old friends a little later in the year, June, July, something like that, to play Star Wars Legion for the day. So I am going to try and get some more of that painted up for then as well, because I want to set. I've got a very small Separatist Alliance force. I want enough to play a decent sized game, so I can just stand there going Roger, 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 and they are no match for droidecars, as droidecars blow things up. Yeah. Although none of the other guys have got clones, so a bit of a teeth dryer, that one. But yeah, your device was about to hang on. Your device will restart. This could be a problem. 1 minute. Outside of active hours. Okay. So it shouldn't do it now. But if all of a sudden we lose the feed, we know why. So that's hobby-wise what's been going on. Oh no, there's a few other things. I've built some more Horus Heresy. I tried to get my head around because if I want to do other projects throughout the course of the year, I have to subdivide my painting time. Now, the approach I decided to take for the year was to have one come on, brain, one army per game, with a slight wrinkle in AOS in that I need the 3 forces. It's lots of bits I've got to do for the Siege of Excelsis, but I'm treating Excelsis as one thing, so I can kind of jump in and jump out without having to do. Not that I counted my AOS armies recently, and there are 31 of them. That's not a thing. That's not a thing, and that's not a rate of 10 a year since I first started playing it. It's not a rate of that at all.
There's a membership 28 months there.
Oh wow! Okay.
And there's a Big Bad Peter.
So we are in lobster territory here, guys. You see, Sam Nash has. I think that's a rejoin. Thank you, Sam. I think so.
Oh,
so
right.
we've got a sparkly blue lobster, and Big Bad Peter Gaming has gifted 5 memberships.
Big
Again,
Bad Peter.
Thanks, man. I mean, you're a legend.
Oh, we love him.
So double. We've got some double simultaneous lobster action. So for those of you who've just claimed the memberships, if you go onto the community tab in the YouTubes, and the top post, or possibly the second post, very near the top, should be a link to the hobby Discord, which gets you into the channel Discord, which is a really nice, chilled, cool place for like-minded narrative hobby people to hang out and swap pictures of minis and say good morning a lot. In the morning, there's lots of people going morning, 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 etc. It's cool. Sam's saying he's been here for a while. Is that
Yeah, he has. It was a 28. It was a 28 month.
I think I was confused because there's no message with it.
No, there's no message with it, and I didn't know whether it.
Because that's what they look like when it's joining the membership thing. But it must also be what
low key then, isn't it?
Yeah. And the lobster fell off. It's gonna mind the mid-zone. That's because I'm gonna boil it. That's why I was confused. Sorry, Sam. Then Kevin Cadfile, membership for 40 months.
We been 400 years?
Have we been going that long? Glad to see you are both well, says Kev. Thanks, Kev.
Oh, thanks, Kev.
So Steve asks, "Are you?" Whoa, they're coming thick and fast.
Look at that.
Get my ears warm. Steve says, "Are you excited for Storm Vermin Eternals, aka Reforged Skaven? At least that's what I'm guessing is going to happen." So, I'll put a pin in that, Steve. Remind me to come back to Steve's question when I'm on topic.
Okay.
Because I'm not on the topic yet, but nearly. So,
is there a please in there somewhere? I do like a polite gentleman.
Okay.
If I find one, I'll let you know.
Yeah, do. Scott says, "Looking forward to Porfest, not bringing chaos for a change."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that is a first as far as I can remember. The Alpha Legion are your thing, from what I remember. Okay, so yes, that's right. I was saying, so I've been building a few.
Oh, Sarcastic Monkey, good night. Is off, is gone. I'm gonna send you a PM, Sarcastic Monkey, because I need to ask a couple of things from you, if that's okay. So I'll send you a personal message if you're disappearing off.
Lobster Dominatus. Thing. Come on, thing. Brain, thing, brain. Yes, been doing been building some heresy stuff. I decided to, because I've built and painted 3,500 points of Ultramarines, but I have acquired probably about 10k. I've been trying to work out how to break it up in order to paint it. And what I think I'm doing is I'm going to do it thematically. So I think the bits I'm going to do next will round off my tactical company. So I'm building some more tactical Marines, tactical support Marines, some Rhinos, some despoilers. I've also there's going to be a hobby video coming up. I haven't filmed it yet, so I can't give you any real insight. But I got sent from War Factor some nifty little spacers, which are used to put in between the legs and the torso of old pattern Marines to make them taller. And he sent me ones of all different heights. So I'm going to do a video where I experiment with them all and see which ones look best. So that's something that's going to be coming up. So that's what I've been doing with the heresy stuff. So yeah. So I think that's everything that I've been doing with respect to that. Obviously, there's been lots of, going with you to the hospital and stuff.
Yeah.
And all the associated things and work and the car. Oh God, the car. The car. The car.
If anyone is an aficionado, is that the right word?
Aficionado, pretty close.
Offici whatever. Thanks, Kev. I can always rely on you. If anybody's one of those on PT Cruisers, please send me a message. That's all I can say.
Yep. Yeah.
It's just I've got a new PT Cruiser. Well, it's not a new one, but I've got a PT Cruiser, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and I love it. But I've driven it about 1/10 of how long I've had it.
Hasn't worked properly since the day we bought it.
Yeah.
Been in the garage about
But
8 times.
I really love it.
I
really love it.
We will get there.
It's in the garage a lot.
A lot.
A lot. Anyway. So if anybody does know anything about it, please let me know.
So, the subject of today's ramble. So that was the first 25 minutes just on pre-ramble. It's a bit like preamble, but it's pre-ramble. Ow.
I thought you were hysterical.
You fibber. You fibber. So, AOS 4. Now, I'm going to start off by saying I have absolutely no inside knowledge of this whatsoever.
Can I just do this just before you start?
Yeah.
Atu just put a message in there earlier on saying, enjoyed your Horus Heresy battle report. Currently starting a Word Bearers project. Word Bearers project.
Oh, good stuff. Glad you're enjoying them. I'm glad James's evil has inspired you to evil acts of your own. Ah.
When do you want to talk about Storm Vermin?
Not just yet.
Okay then.
Not just yet.
Okay then.
When I'm about to do the thing now. When I start to struggle with the thing, tap me up.
Okay. You have to speak now.
Okay.
Go.
So, yes, I have absolutely no inside knowledge on this whatsoever. I haven't seen anything advanced. I haven't done nothing from GW. It is an enigma to me as much as it is an enigma to you folks. I know there are some rumors. I believe there have been some pictures of a Skaven sprue floating around, but I haven't paid too much attention to those. So my comments and thoughts here are mine alone. I'm going to start with what I consider to be the elephant in the room. I'm very apprehensive for 4th edition because I love 3rd edition. It's great. It's straightforward. It's easy to pick up. It's fun. There's very little in it that leans away from narrative play. I mean, obviously there are things in there that say things like plus and minus 1, capped at 1, and you can't use the same strategy command ability more than once in the same phase. And I just cheerfully ignore those. Don't make a big deal about it, but just go, yeah, whatever. Play my Warhammer my way. But the thing that first alarmed me, now which book will it have been in? So one of the recent battle tomes, I think it might have been in the Cities of Sigmar battle tome. And there was a page at the start of all the rulesy blurb after the pretty pictures. And it said different ways to play. And it said contests of generals, an introduction to match play. And then it said path to glory, narrative play. Okay. And then it said pitched battles, a more intensive competitive experience or something like that. Not a whisper of open play. It's like, okay, here's 2 match plays and then Path to Glory. Now, Path to Glory is fine as far as it goes. It's a system for linking your games together and having consequences go from one to the other to the other to the other. That's fine. That's what you want to do. But I don't do that. And what scares me is what they did with 40k happening to AOS, because in 40k it almost seems like they've gone, we're gonna do a generational thing where people who want classic 40k get Heresy and Old World, and people who want new Warhammer get 40k and AOS. And I don't think they'll mess about with the structure of the game too much. I mean, I might regret saying this and tempting fate, but I don't think they're going to index it and scrub all the books. They've only just, there are some books in there that they've only just brought out a second version of. That, you know, there was some armies were still playing with the first edition battle tome. So it would surprise me if they junked all the battle tomes. And that means that the structure of the game has got to stay pretty close. If you take that premise as given, it means the structure of the game has got to stay pretty close to what it is at the moment. What they can then tinker about with are things like the heroic actions, the command abilities, the way terrain works, objectives, and the missions. And in the come on, brain. Sorry, you just have to imagine there's a little spinning symbol going around. Oh, I think I need a jump start. Do you remember what I just said, or my thoughts are running away from my brain like it's on fire?
Oh, not exactly.
Okay, So I was talking about what they can change and missions and stuff. Yes. Here we go. So some of the things that. So if I tell you a little bit about what sort of turned me off to 40k 10th ed, and that sort of links to what I'm afraid they might do in AOS 4th ed, because so some of the things that turned me off to 10th ed 40k. One is they took open play out, and all the variety of missions are all variations on a match play. They're all points for controlling an objective, points for a secondary, points for this, points for that, and they're things that make it very difficult to tell a story, or to use them to tell a story, or to play out a particular scenario. And I suspect they will do that. I am afraid that they might do that to AOS. One of the others is around the selection of units. So in 40k, they've got the you can basically have 3 of any type, or 6 if it's basically like a core unit. And in some armies that works in 40k, and obviously it works from a competitive point of view, not arguing that at all. But for units like Imperial Guard, where you want to have a couple of platoons, so you need 10 infantry squads, can't do it. And in AOS 3, and this is where I think they got it right at GW, because they had the if you're playing match play, here are your restrictions. You can't spend more than this number of points on heroes or other units or behemoths, a maximum of 1 to 2 of these, again depending on the number of points you're picking, maximums for allies, number of times you can reinforce something. And if they, I'm apprehensive that they bake something like that into the core mechanic of the game, and in combination with my apprehension of the way the missions will play, because if they have only match play, then all the missions are going to be score 5 points if this, score if you control an objective, score 5 points you control more than one, score 5 points you control more than your opponent. And that is desperately dull.
Whether you've seen there's a membership.
Wolf Corgi, member for 31 months. I would like to see characters join units, but good missions are the key for me. Yeah, what he said. I'd like to see characters join units. That would be a good incorporation of what they did to 40k. I would like that. That would be good. But good missions are the key. And I guess good is a subjective word. What's good for one person is not necessarily good for another, but the variety of missions that appeal to a variety of play styles. And that worked really well when they had open, narrative, and competitive and match play. Then, because that was back in 8th, then narrative became this, it must be Crusade, and following the equivalent to Path of Glory. But I always felt that they could have done a different option for narrative with rules for things like, obviously 40k, Death Worlds, sort of fleet interdictions, that or they could have done narrative, given us narrative tools that we could then take and say, right, well, we're playing this game, and actually there's going to be a warp storm, there's going to be this, and there's going to be that. And that would really appeal to me. And I would love if they did something like that back into AOS, because I know in Second Ed, you used to have generic rules for, we're playing this, we're fighting this battle in Chamon, therefore these are the Realmscape rules. Those of you who've been watching Siege of Excelsis, on there we have the Gur Realmscape rules that we've been using all the way through. So, yeah, I am quite apprehensive that they bake matched play style missions and army selection into the core of the game. I am very apprehensive that that may happen. And if they do that, I guess I'm going to be playing a lot of custom scenarios. If they leave the core mechanic alone enough that I can just say, do you know what? This is how you're supposed to choose your army, but shove it. This is how we're doing it. Then that's okay. But the more I have to work around, the less I'm going to want to play it, which is exactly what happened to 40k for me. And I would find other things that were easier to play and easier to have fun with and play those. So I'm pretty apprehensive for that. I had been very apprehensive of what they were going to do to Stormcast Eternals as well, because one of the things they did in the Cities of Sigmar battle tome is something that they've done. So, quick pause for a drink. So, in 40k, when they went to 10th Ed and they produced index cards, I had a lot of hope for 10th Ed, and I went out and I bought the index cards for all the armies that I had. I thought, I'm going to play this and it's going to be fun. And it wasn't, because I had sort of thought, well, what I can do is I can do some games and I can set them in the sort of couple of 100 years before the Indomitus Crusade. So I thought, I can do things like the Armageddon campaign. I can do Tyrannic War. I can do this and I can do that. And what I'll have is I'll use the units from the setting that I'm playing. And the folks I play against love to play sort of narrative scenarios, and we'll do that. I thought I can still enjoy 40k. I can do that. Then, when the Space Marine Codex came out, it felt like a few minutes later, when that came out a little way down the line, they removed assault marines, certain bikes, certain speeders, scouts, etc. And for the first time, what they had done is they had taken units out of the game such that it was then impossible, without using substitutions or using your own rules or using Legends units, to play games set across the period, the whole range of the 40k setting, not 30k but 40k. So you can't have assault squads, can't have these things, can't have those things, and that was an absolute nail in the coffin for me, and I left a bad taste in my mouth, and I couldn't get it out, and I still haven't yet. I'm sure I'll come back to 40k at some point, but it's another layer of effort to playing it for me, because then I have to try and navigate. Navigate a narrative minefield to an extent. So, linking this to AOS, when they released the new Cities of Sigmar battle tome, in some ways they did a lot of stuff I really liked, and there's a lot in that book that I think is fantastic. There's also a bunch of stuff I think is terrible, because they removed a couple of what I was expecting to have newer models for units and the stuff I'd been painting and building to be pretty old hat. And I thought, that's okay. I don't mind having an old style army. But they removed some stuff that had been really front and center in a lot of the narrative and a lot of the novels and a lot of the books since as far back as I go with AOS. And that's things like the Demigryph cavalry and greatswords. Now, I know why they removed them. They removed them because they've obviously gone through this process of saying, right, this is the fantasy model range. What stuff is going into staying in AOS? What stuff's going back to Old World? Because obviously they came from there originally, and then things have developed. And they've tried. It appears that they've tried to keep stuff that stays in both very, 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 very limited. And there's not a huge amount of units that I can see that go in both. So and they removed the Demigryph Knights and the and the Greatswords, and to an extent the Free Guild Guard. But one can argue that Steel Helms are Free Guild Guard, and Fusiliers are the crossbowmen and the riflemen, and you can use them for that, and that's okay. You can do that, but they from a narrative point of view, if I want to, and they sort of, the description of the narrative was the Steel Helms and the Fusiliers and so on. They are all as a result of the Dawnbringer Crusades, because there's a story about the person who they were transporting a load of material because they were obviously going to go and build a city. And this commander had this brilliant idea when they were being assailed by cruel boys from all directions. They broke out some of the stuff, built some fortifications, and then those fortifications made it easy to fight the cruel boys off. Then they dismantled them, moved a little way, and then when they attacked again, they rebuilt them. And that's why they've now all got these sort of massive shields and barricades, and they've got a rule mechanic for about moving and then refortifying. And I like that. That's cool. But that's timescale specific. That happened after the Dawnbringer Crusade. And now, if I want to play games set before then, there are no rules, that the units don't exist for Demigryph Knights and Great Swords. And do you know what? I'm in the middle of doing a campaign where they feature, and I'm going to carry on using the units as they were in the previous battle tome, and that's just the way it is. And I can keep on doing that, but there's something about not using the current battle tome / codex. It's never sat right for me. It just, I don't know. It always feels like breaking the rules, and I don't like that, ironically. So they introduced this concept of so they seem to no longer care or consider the implications of when they release a new book, what that does to playing games set in particular time periods. And I want to do, I'm obviously there's the era of the Beast and the Siege of Excelsis, and I am absolutely loving it. At some points, I want to do some games set in the Soul Wars. At some points, I want to do some Realm Gate Wars. There's all sorts of things I want to do, and I wish I should live long enough to do all the things I want to do, and I have to pick and choose, and because I'm not going to live forever, and there's only so many games you can actually film in a lifetime. But what I was very apprehensive of them doing was exactly the same as they did with the Space Marines and Cities of Sigmar. And when it comes to 4th Ed, because they've got some models which I still like them, they're still cool, but compared to the other minis, they're showing their age and they're a bit tired. And that's things like the Liberators, the Paladins, the Angelos host, to a lesser extent, the Judicators got there. And I thought, if they deprecate those units, then I'm going to be in the same situation. But then, in autumn last year, a ray of hope burst through the clouds, and the game.
Oh, thanks.
You appeared in the clouds a long time before then. They released a game for the PC whose name I can't remember. Realms of Ruin, I think it might be called. And in that, they had Liberators that were reimagined in the same style as the 3rd edition Stormcast, i.e. brought up to date aesthetically. So that gave me significant hope that what they would actually do in 4th Ed is, rather than remove old units and replace them with brand new Spingon Stormcast with now even pointier, lightningier spear, and actually go back and update what was already there. And I gather the rumor is that what they're going to do for 4th Ed is that reimagined. So from that perspective, I have some hope. But I also gather there are some new Skaven coming. And I hear the rumor is that it's going to be Stormcast and Skaven in the big box. So it will be interesting to see what they do with the Skaven, because at the moment they've already got a wide range of minis. They've obviously got Clan Rats, which are plebs but multitudinous, Storm Vermin, which are their Stormcast equivalent. 2 attacks, hit on 3s, wound on 3s, -1. Range 2? Range 2. So they've already got their Stormcast equivalent. They've already got big beasties like Rat Ogres and the big rat ogres with the armor on and the guns melded to them. They've got big war machines. They've got demons. They've got little war machines. They've got range. They've got close up. They've got comedy. God, have they got comedy? So, so I'm curious to see where they go. And again, and it's only just occurred to me, I hope they don't take anything from the range that will prevent narrative things being played. I mean, I can't imagine they would do anything like removing clan rats from the range. I mean, that would be insane, right? Right? Ah! Ah!
Do you want to know what Kev thinks?
What does Kev think?
Kev thinks, he says, I feel they will make it simpler for the mythical wider audience that they are hunting now. This is Games Workshop. And Games Workshop themselves say they are a model company now, so I worry they will ruin their game system just to sell more models.
They've been saying for a long time that they're a model company, not a games company.
Yeah.
And
I fear that a little bit as well, I have to say.
They've always used the rules to stimulate sales. They've always done that. But what they used to do was, in a new edition, they would change the rules or tweak it. So 40k is a better example. In one edition, tanks are rubbish. They sell no tanks. They sell lots of infantry. So tank sales plummet, infantry sales go up, but then peter out as people have got their armies. So next edition, what do you know? Tanks are great. They can hold objectives now, and they don't blow up when you get close and sneeze on them. So tank sales go up, and they've always balanced it with points. And something happened recently that made me also quite quite apprehensive, because it's a worrying precedent. So back in the day, they would balance things by saying, these are the rules that are appropriate to this weapon, this unit. And therefore, it costs this many points as a result. Now, obviously, they have to factor in miniature sales and all that kind of stuff, but that's how they would balance things. Now, they, certainly in 40k, they lean towards, this unit must be better, because you can only have 3 of them. It doesn't matter if they're guardsmen, so they must be better and be the same points. So you get guardsmen that outshoot marines, which, sad panda. So something happened in the last. Immortan Joe, member for 41 months. 41 months. I'm excited to replace all of my firstborn Redeemer and Paladin units when they get resculpts. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do as well. I'm looking forward to some nice new ones. But personally speaking, I don't think I'll replace. I think I will leave certain armies in their era and style and build other forces with the new ones. Maybe. Don't know. But that's because I am a total magpie, rather than having a small number of armies that I am faithful to. So when they dropped the balanced data slate a couple of weeks ago, they changed the range on a couple of units. Now, some of them they made perfect sense. One of them, I think it was Grimghast Reapers in Nighthorn, who had massive sides that were always 1-inch range. And they changed them to 2-inch range. I thought, ha, perfect. That makes perfect sense. They always should have been more. Yes, that is an excellent rebalancing. Given that you are going to rebalance, you have done it well. Then on the next page, the Fire Slayers have Guard berserkers with sling shields, which are awful. They're fun, they're funky, but they're awful. I don't mind them being awful. It's one of those. It's one of those books. Everything is either awful or superb, and there's nothing in the middle. And these were awful. So, but instead of saying, "All right, well, it's a pick," so actually we'll make the rend better on it because it can punch through armor. Okay, we'll do that. Or it's a war axe. We'll do this to it instead. Now, what they've gone is they've taken the smallest weapon in the hands of the smallest creature, maybe bar goblins, one of the smallest creatures, and said, "What we'll do is, in order that they get more attacks in, we'll make them a 2-inch range." It's like they're all the secret love child of Inspector Gadget, and the ones at the back just go, go, Fire Slayer arms, ding, 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 ding. No. Not happy with that. Now, what I can imagine to an extent is because Fire Slayers are absolute nutters, that they're almost sort of leaping over each other to hack at them or throwing their axes. And but come on, that's a worrying precedent. It is a worrying precedent. And I worry that we will get more game balance through rules that don't fit the narrative of units. And I am concerned for that. So there we go. So those are my thoughts on AOS 4 and why I'm kind of scared. I hope it is not made too difficult to play. Done. Skaven. Kind of touched on that, I think. How was it worded? I just checked the wording and make sure I haven't missed any of the specifics. I think I covered it.
Oh, did you?
I think I did, yeah.
Yeah. Just while we're on that, if anybody wants to drop another topic into the hat or share a thought, please just put it in the box and I will pass the message on. Stick it in there.
Okay, so Steve was asking if I'm excited for the whatever's coming with Skaven, and he was suggesting that Storm Vermin Eternals. I'm not sure they're going to be reforged, but it would surprise, because those are also the Storm Vermin are quite old minis, and I got 40 of them in a box somewhere, so that is probably a miniature line that GW will update. Yeah, so I think you might be right there. They may well do new sculpts for Storm Vermin to go up against the Storm cast in the new box. Yes, I think you're right, Steve. I concur. Do we have any questions?
We don't have any questions. No, because I've sort of done them as we were going along, really. I was just sort of saying if anybody wanted to throw anything in the hat. I don't know whether there's anything on Discord on the live stream.
There's one.
Yeah, go for that. It got me a bit confused because I think there's a little bit of a chat going on in there, so I get a bit confused when that happens.
So the reason that happened was in a ramble a couple of times ago. Big Bad Peter Gaming asked me about tree men and what size bases they went on and so on.
Right, I'm with you.
And I was able to go and look it up afterwards. And when I was allowed to say, I put the answer in there and tagged him in because that's where it came from. That's why that's there. Then Mick asked if the hunt for the relic is still a thing in battle reports. So for those who don't know, have a little tiny red fire extinguisher, and for a while it was a game in Discord where I would hide that on the table in every battle report, including the AOS ones, and people would try and spot it. And the first person to shout out that they'd found it and where it was got a special color, their name in a special color until the next battle report. But no one has hunted it for, I'd say, over a year. And about halfway through that period, I stopped putting it on. Although I have to say, every time I play against James March, he always sneaks it on to see if I notice. So it will be there in some of them, but there may be some where you're looking for it and it's just not there. So kind of, but also kind of not.
Kev's just put a message on there about your crow behind you.
Seeing the crow behind you, Paul, it makes me sad. They are remaking it. What?
What do you think about it, Paul? It just, anything that's remade, I think, just lacks a little. Because if you've loved the first one, the second one, the remake of it's got to be pretty special, hasn't it, for you to sort of like it.
So it's never. Depends what they do as a remake, if it's a remake or a reimagining or whatever. So, for example, the remake of The Italian Job, the only real relation to the original film it had was the title and the fact that there are 3 cars in it. That was the only connection. And the more modern one was a good film, and I enjoy it, and I got it on DVD. But I don't consider it part of the original. So, if they just do a film sort of in the style of The Crow, then I'll give it a watch, and it might be good. If they try and remake The Crow, and they redo, Eric Draven's story, don't know. Don't like the sound of that. But open mind. And all that, it'll never be better than the original. It would only ever be different.
Yeah.
Same way as they remade Total Recall. The second Total Recall was a good film. It was a good film, but he watched it once though, despite owning it on DVD, Blu-ray. The original, I go back to again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Always 2 weeks. I 2 weeks.
Just as it would be lovely if Skaven were given new models for Sky. I can't say that.
Sky Acolytes.
That's the one.
Yeah, they're LED
Dual
models.
Flayers, Rat Ogres, and any of the single model units.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at those, they're pretty tired compared to the newer miniatures. Yeah. So just refreshing the ranges and then polishing them up and giving them some shiny new rules would achieve the sales goal, I am sure. And made me look at my little rats and go, oh, you were good rats once. Shiny new. Big Bad Peter Gaming, member for 25 months. Have you built and painted Ultramarines Librarian yet? No! For 2 reasons. 1, it's out of stock and has been for a long time. And 2, it still probably wouldn't have made it to the top of my list yet. Because at the moment, what I've been doing has been quite calfy. And I wouldn't use a librarian until I was Imperium Secundacy, when Emperor Sanguinius said, it's fine, go kill demons. Because there's only that window. When they realise that Terra hasn't fallen, they've probably got, I should probably tell the librarians to knock it off then. It's probably what would happen. So, no, not done anything with that yet. Oh, no.
What?
I've just read Kevin's response.
Trailer looks bad.
Looks bad.
Oh, and it's a remake of the original.
And made to appeal to Generation Z. All the things I just said I was afraid of.
Oh.
Okay. Well,
happy
Tuesday.
Watch the trailer first. Don't buy the ticket. Okay.
So I think we should amble towards a close there.
Yeah.
So we'll head towards thank yous. First, thank you, as always, the long-suffering Crimson for
thank you
for marshalling me and getting my butt in gear and all that good stuff. These would not happen without her.
Okay, so just the membership comments, and I like to read these out because some of them are just like forever. So Wolf Corgi, 31 months. Thanks for your comment. Sam Nash, 28 months. Sarcastic Monkey, who's disappeared now, but 17 months. Steve, 20 months. Scott, 40 months. Joe, 41 months. 41 months. Big Bad Peter Gaming, 25 months. Have I missed Kev? I think I might have missed Kev. Kev used his, didn't he?
He did.
He did. Kev used his. That's because I wrote a question. Kev as well. I think Kev is 40 months. I'm sure he is. Kev's 40 months. Yeah. So massive thank yous to Big Bad Peter Gaming, as usual, for 5 memberships. What's wrong?
I was trying to move the cursor and I appear to have... I'm going to touch it until I turn it off and then bathe it in fire.
Shall I carry on then?
Yeah, carry on.
Okay. So the people that took Peter on his 5 new memberships was Dan of the Other Realm, Egma, Baldy Oldie, Baldy, 1701, I know very well. So I'm glad that you're here. Boom Daka Azagon and Dem Gorgon. So I hope I've said those right. So get yourselves on Discord and join in the chat. And when you do, you'll see that there's Porfest on the 27th of April. There's been quite a few tickets gone already. There's still lots left if anybody wants them. If you do, and it's one of those things that we all come across, don't we, that you can't pay till payday, or you want one but you've just not got around to doing it, just let me know that you do. And then, you can send the payment later on. It's not a problem. It's just that I need to secure how many people are coming, because there is complimentary breakfast sandwiches, which is very important. And there's also some other bits as well that are just about the event. So there are some merch that you're just going to be able to get at the event. And I need to make sure that you've got some of those as well. So if you could just drop me a message and say, yes, I'm coming. I know I've not paid, but I will be doing. That's fine. That's not a problem at all.
So for those who don't know, Porfest is our community hobby day where we get together in a games hall, chill out, throw dice, have a laugh.
Yeah, and thanks, Mike, by the way, as well. Wolf Corgi. Sorry, I always get into trouble for that. Wolf Corgi, who I think it must have been on Sunday, went to Sanctuary Games, had a channel members day at Sanctuary Games and gave Porfest a shout out, and it's on the Discord. And everybody looked really happy. It does make me laugh because everybody's just looks so as if they're really enjoying it. And there's Mike at the front holding up the camera. So thank you for that. And if anybody else wants to do any shout outs to anybody, it is ultimately for channel members. But if you know someone and they want to come along and they want to just have a see what it's like, see what we're all like, have a bit of a chat, eat lots of cake, have a bacon sandwich, go away with some unique merch, it's the place to be. Tabletop events, 27th of April. Be there or don't.
Yeah, she
Kev,
said
that were from memory, Kev, that it were 40 months. I knew it were really. So yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Well, thank you all very much for joining us. I hope it was more coherent to you guys than it felt to me. Thanks once again to Crimson. And shout out to all the channel members and Patreons and everyone who supports me. You guys make this possible. Thank you all. You're all wonderful. Thank you very much. And until next time, take care, and we will see you in the next one. Say bye, Crimson.
Bye, Crimson.
Bye.